And being an athlete, you have a very intimate relationship with your body, how it works, how you're feeling. You know, if you're hurting in a particular spot, if you're getting ill, if you're feeling really good, you know it like many people wouldn't, because it's how you really gauge things day in, day out. Throughout pregnancy and then throughout your recovery, what were some things that surprised you about your body that you were like, oh my goodness, this is wild? Having listened to your body for how many years throughout your career, what surprised you?
I was really surprised what I could achieve on very poor, very little broken sleep for such a long time, actually. So I think as athletes, I mean, I was probably borderline lazy in how much time I would spend in bed beforehand, and never really trained before 10 a.m. if I could help it. Tried not to get out of bed before 9 a.m. if I could help it. Yeah, like really, really liked to be horizontal a lot of the time. And I felt like that was what I needed to recover and to do well. And actually, I didn't really need quite so much. And I don't know if there's something hormonally that happens after you have a baby that you can just get on with it. Even when it feels awful, you can just kind of get on with it a bit better than beforehand. So that really surprised me, because I did think, if you showed me the stats of how much sleep I was getting versus how much riding I was doing, I would say absolutely not. That's impossible. Like, there were quite a number of days where I had more hours of training than I had hours of sleep the night before, which is like horrible. But I actually felt all right, and I think that exercise really helped. And then there were a lot of things that surprised me that I had no control over, like my hair fell out after like 4 or 5 months or something, and I had no idea that was going to happen. Thought something really bad was going on. Yeah, huge surprise. It just came out. And I think it felt like every time everything settled down, there'd be a big surprise like that, and you'd just be
Mhm.
like, "What? Where did that come from?" So there is quite a lot to learn, but I think it's quite amazing how much your body can change and morph and shapeshift and meet all these different demands, and yeah, you can still function afterwards. Like, you can be absolutely on the edge of exhaustion, but yeah, because your body's going through so many different, so many different demands in a day.
A whole new level of appreciation. And I want to talk to you about body image, because I guess as an athlete, especially as a cyclist, it's all down to power to weight. You want to be lean, you want to be light, you want to be powerful. Therefore, becoming pregnant, you put on weight, you grow a child, you then have the child, and then you have more weight than likely you've ever had in your entire life. And then you have, you go on this journey to perhaps lose it, get back to your race weight, but you also have a baby to look after. Mentally, what was the psychological impact maybe on body image? Was it something that bothered you, surprised you, going through it, still training, still working hard, yet, putting on weight because you're growing an actual child? How was that process? First time round, maybe, versus second time round?
Um, it was quite hard. I think I would probably count myself quite lucky that in the cycling world, I've been in a very nice little corner of it where there hasn't really been a whole lot of pressure to be super skinny. And if anything, I've been encouraged to gain weight at times, which has been really nice, because I think as a track endurance rider, it's where power is the most important. Power to weight is a little bit important, but power is what you really, really need. And power to CDA, like how airy you are, is really what's going to win you races. So that's what we put a lot more time and energy into. Um, so I feel like I've been very lucky with the environments I've been in. That said, I found being pregnant really, really hard. Especially, I think the comments that you get from people, which you get as an athlete, you get anyway. I think as soon as you meet someone and they find out you're an athlete, they will comment on something on your body. And I've been told within the same day by total strangers that I've got massive legs and tiny legs. And you're like, well, I know I should have some kind of body dysmorphia, but I'm not sure what it is.
Yeah.
But I know it's extreme. um, and so I think it was a similar situation in pregnancy where, yeah, and so many women get this, where people are very surprised that you're not just kind of you plus a tiny baby sized bump by the end. And so you get a lot of comments like, God, are you still pregnant? You must have passed your due date now. The baby must be due any minute, when you're like 6 months pregnant. Are you sure it's not twins in there? Like all that kind of stuff. And it was just relentless every single day. And I found that really hard to deal with. Because you've got so little control over it. Like some people do have a tiny bump, some people are huge, and I was one of the people that was huge. And there was nothing that I could really do. And I think afterwards as well, it surprised me how many people thought that as soon as you have a baby, you go back immediately to how you looked before. And people would be outwardly surprised that I still had, I guess, like kind of a baby bump after 2 or 3 weeks, or even after a few days. You know, I sent a picture to my family from the hospital, and my sister said, "But you've had the baby, so why do you still look pregnant?" And I was like, "What? Where do you think it's going to go? Like, it takes a bit of time to go back to normal." And so I found that really, really hard. And I think a lot of it is the comments of like well-meaning people, but when you hear it again and again and again, it's really hard to take on. And yeah, it's a huge, it's just a huge change to go through, and you really don't have a huge amount of control over how your body responds to pregnancy. Like, I trained a lot during my last pregnancy, and I still put on loads and loads of weight. I say I ate reasonably well, but still put on loads of weight. Like, there's stuff you can do to help, but I think how your body responds is just how it's going to respond. Yeah, ultimately. And then it's quite hard to come back from that as well. It did feel a bit strange putting on cycling kit. Also because I had quite a lot of ab separation, which I think everybody has to some extent. But I really felt like putting on cycling kit, I didn't feel as kind of, I don't know, it just felt strange. It felt like putting it on somebody else's body. It was really, really, really odd. And that took a bit of time to go back to normal.